Okay, here we go.
Got it. Okay, perfect. All
Yeah.
right. I will call this meeting to order at 7:06. Okay, hello, ladies. I can't believe it's already September and fall is right around the corner, and I am so excited. I walked into Walmart today, and not only did it smell like pumpkin spice, but everything was full swing Halloween, which is one of my very favorite holidays. Which, interestingly enough, our film festival is going to be going on during that Halloween weekend, the weekend before Halloween on the 28th, 29th, 30th, and the week before. So we're going to have our original dates for the Topaz Film Festival starting on the 20. Got to get to October. Don't look at the September one. 21st is when our programming will start. And then we will go all the way through the holiday weekend until the 30th. And that the weekend of the 28th, 29th, and 30th is when we give out our Topaz awards ceremony. And these girls are planning lots of fun activities to kind of be in the theme and the feel of the holiday season, and having kind of a Fright Night horror kind of theme on Saturday evening. So that should be fun. And we are very excited about Topaz that is happening in October. But we've got some things that are happening in September that are pretty exciting. And I know because I've almost been to some of the meetings about it. I'm just kidding. I've just been super busy lately, but we have been working diligently. Who was it that told me we had 2 babies? Was it Gail? Was it you? We've had 2 babies this year. And one of them, well, we always have the Topaz Film Festival, but we also have been birthing a symposium, a women's symposium that's happening on September 17th that is covering everything that we also want to know, but that we gave us a really good excuse to like bug people that we want to hear from and get their perspective on filmmaking. And we've got the beginning of our day is going to start with set safety. It's something that's huge right now. There were accidents that happened last year and COVID things that are still going on. And we want to make sure that with gunplay and intimacy and health, that we are all being safe on set. Then we're going to go in from script to screen, and that's going to be the journey that little script takes. And we're going to talk to people that are the heads of departments in various avenues of production that will give their input and talk to us about what their roles are how that script is created, what happens once the script is created, and disseminate throughout all the different departments on set. So that should be really exciting. And then we're going to end our day with talking about self-care, because as women, we wear not only the burden of the job that we have, but also most of us are caretakers, or we are single women getting through life in a man's world, or we are moms or grandmothers or daughters of mothers that are having health issues. I'm in that boat right there. So really, with all the things that we juggle, how can we take care of ourselves? The only other thing that we have coming up is our workup. This month is on the 21st. This will be our last women's workup. We'll have one in November, but in October, it's all hands on deck for the Topaz Film Festival. And we want to make sure that we aren't over inundating the calendar. And then the next big thing that will be coming up, it will be our year-end extravaganza. And so we will be sending out information about that. Am I forgetting anything, Miss Gail? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, now that I'm off mute. 2 other things. North Texas Giving Day, you're probably receiving all kinds of emails about that from every organization under the sun. Women in Film Dallas is registered with North Texas Giving Day. And if you go in and you're clicking off $25 to all of your favorite charities, please consider giving to Women in Film Dallas. Some of that money goes toward scholarships for future filmmakers, and we're hoping to initiate mini grants to members. So more about that in upcoming months. So those two big things, scholarships and North Texas Giving Day. I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Gail. Okay, and Gail, I'm going to go ahead and hand the meeting over to
All right.
you. So
Thank you.
that Lisa Dalton, thank you so much for being with us tonight on behalf of Women in Film. I appreciate you for being here, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say. She was also going to be an invited guest to our symposium, but some people have jobs and are busy or are traveling or doing other things. So we appreciate her sharing her time with us tonight. All right. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Tiff. So I'm going to ask you all to mute your microphones unless you're speaking, because it can cause interference with Lisa. And I would also invite you all to click on the chat. And I have posted a couple of website addresses for Lisa in the chat. So make note of those. And then if you have questions for Lisa, I will be attempting to woman the chat and get those questions to Lisa. You can also save the chat. So anything that comes up, you may save. It'll be a wonky text file, but then you can have that information. And I always keep them. So if you don't save it, I will have them. All right. Okay, so I'm going to do a little introduction to Lisa. Hopefully you've read about her on our webpage. You can check out her work on those websites, as I said. Lisa is currently a SAG-AFTRA DFW board member with over 40 years in the film industry. As an actor, director, producer, and stunt woman, she is ubiquitous in New York, on stage, to soaps, to the cult classic The Last Dragon, to doubling for Madonna, Meryl Streep, and Grace Jones, to jumping off buildings. In LA, on TV, in commercials, films, in front of and behind the camera. She is president of the National Michael Chekhov Association. A lot of educational programs there. You can check that out online. And a certified life coach, and has served as a production coach, which is one of the things I'm hoping she'll talk about tonight, of 5 indie films. As a leader in the industry, Lisa has fought for parity, equity, inclusion, and safety since her early days on the SAG Stunt and Safety Committee in New York. And man, she's got some amazing stories about that. Her Amazon #1 bestsellers include Murder of Talent, How Pop Culture is Killing It, and Falling for the Stars, A Stunt Gal's Tattletales. I've read them both and they're great. Lisa currently lives in Fort Worth and is my longtime mentor and friend, and I am so pleased to have her here. Lisa Dalton, welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, we talked about our symposium, and one of our panels being on safety. And as Tiffany said, Lisa was going to be one of our lead panelists, but then we had to change the date and she had a conflict. So when we spoke, she talked about set culture. And I love that because we so often think about, well, you don't want to get hit with a bullet. You don't want to fall off a train. I mean, we talk about those kinds of catastrophic dangers that exist on set. But Lisa talks about something that is more ubiquitous, there's that word again, the whole culture of a set and how we contribute to the making or breaking of it. So Lisa, I look forward to hearing what you have to say. So I give you Lisa Dalton.
Yay. Thank you, everyone. And thank you. I'm getting a little notice, just FYI, that my internet's unstable. So it's good if somebody keeps moving, because if I need to, we will just make a spontaneous shift to another room, where I'll be right next to the Wi-Fi there. So,
Lisa, we are not new to technical difficulties.
okay, great.
So if you need a moment, Gail and I will improv and go off book for you until you can get yourself together. And that's a promise.
Perfecto. So I want to thank you all so much, Gail, Tiff, and everyone with Women in Film. I'm actually intrigued and excited that I get to speak today, because when Gail and I were speaking about this question of safety, script to screen, and self-care, we were like, well, I could be on any one of those three. And I feel like what I have to offer is a communion of those three. So first I'm going to speak a little bit about the concept of a production coach and what the role of a production coach is, because most people will never have heard of it, because I don't know anybody who's ever done it besides me. But what I did in LA, I'll explain, on 5 independent films, was I met with the writer, director, and the production designers, the cinematographer, and the first AD before pre-production began. And I did this on 5 different projects, all low budget indies. And some of them were really beginning. They were just like people who'd barely made any kind of thing, but they were all feature length. And so what we did was we met and we created I read the script, and then we co-created on big charts images that flooded us from the script. And then we talked about what we call the atmosphere of the story. And we talked about this question of what do we want the audience to walk away with tomorrow, or you might say to do tomorrow for having seen this film today, to help everyone align their values. Is what is bringing you to this production, to work on this production. So it's particularly when you're working in the low budget world, you have a lot of volunteerism on the line. You're really relying on a lot of donation, a lot of in-kind support, and you're relying on gathering funds and finances and resources, locations, etc., on a volunteer basis. And every person who's going to support your project has a reason to want to do that. They have a personal agenda in doing that. And if values in the story that's being told, then that story is more likely to be told well. And everybody who's aligned toward the same artistic vision, that has their own creative needs also being met, will work that much harder for the whole production. So if you understand that the assistant DP, the assistant camera person, is just needing a credit and some experience, then if you're the cinematographer, you're going to know that you want to make sure you give that person a little more training that you might somebody who's doing it just to get another credit. Somebody who's trying to get experience needs to be treated differently than someone who's just there for a paycheck. And being there for a paycheck is fine, but there's a different set of requests and relationships that form when they're there out of the goodness of their heart. The same will happen with atmosphere background people. The same will happen with actors, makeup artists, costumers, designers, everybody across the board who's bringing their energy to the actual process of storytelling. And the more people who understand the larger whole picture of the desired outcome that is wanting to be brought to the audience for a good reason, which could be scare the fucking shit out of these people, or make them laugh so they pee in their pants, or just give them a break from their horrible day, shock them into action, anything. It could be any good reason that somehow ultimately, hopefully lifts the spirit of the audience in some way. It enlightens them, it educates them, it shakes them up, or it simply takes them out of the doldrums or the strain and stress of the day. They're all good reasons. But if we're all on the same page and we start to see the common goal, then we will achieve that common goal. And this would include, if you have a post-production supervisor, getting them in on the early phases of generating these images that want to be brought forth. And the director ultimately sort of controls that. The director is the center point of the production. And as the director goes, so goes the show, generally. This may be a little different in a TV episodic where the producer holds the ongoing life of the show and directors rotate in and out. But generally I'm talking about film right now, and generally it's a director's medium. Who and align the director's vision as the director's been able to receive it from the writer and their team around them. The more coherent, the better the product's going to be. So when we look at safety, and this may seem a little bit weird, but what I'd like everyone to do is get ready to post something in the chat. So if you can open up your chat and get ready to post something in it, I'm going to ask you a question, and I just want you to post as soon as I say it so that it all pops up in the chat, and then Gail can then sort of read off some of them, some of these answers. But are you ready? Everybody's got their chat open, ready to write, and put just your first impulses. But what's the biggest threat on the set? What's the biggest threat on the set? Put anything you want in the chat. If you're a writer, maybe it's somebody's going to blow your lines, or somebody's going to tell you that this scene isn't working. If you're, whatever it is, if you're a costumer, they're going to tell you this is a horrible. What's your biggest threat, or what's the biggest threat on the set? Great. Great. Gail, will you read some of these?
Sure, yes. We have cables, lack of time, not being prepared, distracted people on their phones, lack of respect, too many people in the room, feeling inferior. If pyro is used, that may be the biggest threat. I'm a former pyrotechnician.
Great. So I love this. So what we're looking at when we see this is that the threat is not just physical, but there's a tremendous amount of psychological threat. When we talk about safety, we are not, and obviously Gail said, I did 100 films and TV shows doing stunts. And so, I've leapt tall buildings. I know I've had 3 friends killed. I know what it's about, the dangers on the set. But the psychological and emotional dangers that I've experienced at the hands of directors, at the hands of various different people on the set are linger as painfully in my body as the titanium in the back from crashing into a cliff. So it's they are very real. Is way underestimated in the development of the project. People do not respect the psychological dangers that happen, and they happen in all of these areas. So to begin with, I want to talk about, I'd like to get you guys up on your feet. If you want to turn your cameras on, I don't care how ugly you look, or you think you look, because you're all beautiful to me. But getting up on your feet for a moment, and you can stay seated if you want, but if you want to get up on your feet and just try this for a moment. Get the puppy out of the way here. So I'd like you to imagine and pretend you have an imaginary ball in your hand, and you're going to throw that ball. Okay, so we're going to pitch it underhand, for example, but imagine you're just tossing that ball. Go ahead and do it. Just do your imaginary ball toss, and you're going to throw it right to me through the screen. Throw it right at the camera and throw it at the screen. Good, good. Now, if you've got some microphones on, I'd love for you to shout out, what do you have to do to throw the ball? You got the ball in your hand. What do you have to do first thing to get ready? What do you got to do?
Take a breath.
Where's the hand that's throwing going?
Up.
It's gonna
Forward.
Time.
Trying to, yeah.
It goes in the opposite direction from where it's going to wind up,
Right.
right? So if you don't do that, just put your hand by your side and try to throw without taking it back first. Can you feel how different that is?
Yes.
So this whole process of going into, if you call it going into the backspace, is your preparation, right? You got to go to the opposite place from where you're ending up to build power. And now you're using the natural dynamic of gravity, centrifugal force, boom, to carry you forward.
Correct.
Right? So this, if you only come to here for your preparation, you're going to have to really push and force this. And the energy is not going where you want. So if you strongly prepare your right? This is the phrase that I'd like you to repeat it. A strong preparation makes your action effortless.
A strong
Strong
preparation
preparation
makes your
makes
action
action effortless.
effortless. A strong preparation.
Yes.
Preparation
Makes your action.
makes your action
Effortless. Thank you, Gail. Yeah.
A strong preparation makes your action effortless.
That's it. So when we look at the problems that happen on a set and that endanger the safety of the set culture, endanger the self-esteem issues, right? And create chaos, which causes time crunches, which causes haste, which causes dangerous situations to happen. That's when the pyrotechnics don't go well. That's when light flags fall on people because they haven't been properly stored and somebody jostles them in the grass or something like that. That's when stuff happens because it's rushed and because it wasn't prepared well. So strong preparation, pre-production is one of the most underdone aspects, especially in low budget work. So several points of pre-production. A costumer I know who's not given the opportunity to actually be sure the sizes that they're being given for the actors are actually accurate. And if it's a period piece and you're given sizes by an actor today, and you're pulling sizes from the 70s, your sizing is not the same. That's just the fact. A size 12 in 1972 is not a size 12 today. There weren't size 2s in 1972. And if you don't know this, and if your actors don't, et cetera, you can see the problems. So a simple thing like being able to give the costumer access to the actor and finding a way to do that in a be fully prepared, or an actor who has allergies, makeup allergies, right? I had an actress who, for a 10-second shot, who had to be projected, 22-year-old beautiful actress who was being in a nightmare scene, a 10-second flash as an old hag. And she had an allergic reaction to the glue that was used on the makeup, and it destroyed her tear duct glands permanently. And this was, this is lack of preparation. And this is where danger comes in. And this was, unfortunately, it was a non-union film. I'm a big advocate, obviously, of union projects, because one thing that you do need to have is workman's compensation, and that's preparation. That is on the production side, preparation to be prepared to handle anything that happens in the whole production, to be protected so that anyone you're working with can be protected. It is not to be underestimated, these technical aspects and what these requirements are. So every single person's job on the film set can be prepared. It can be given strong preparation. But most of the time, in order to do that, they need strong communication. And it's in the question of communication, which includes languaging, which affects the personal safety, the social safety of everyone on the set. So in languaging, for example, there are all kinds of little things that can make communication easier. Just for example, the word ease. The word ease is an interesting word and a distinctly different word than relax. So how many times on a film you hear someone say relax, right? Relax. And the actors get nervous, people get nervous, and they're being told to relax, or they're being asked to relax, or they're trying to force themselves to relax. And this word, to command someone or ask yourself to relax, is an undoable command. It is not doable. It is a result. It is a passive verb, and relax is a result of doing. And if you relax too much, you'll fall asleep. So relaxing is actually not the key to a peak performance, but being at ease is. And this word ease is a cue word that we can use. If you look at all peak flow, all harmonic ensemble moving, which is what film is, it's an ensemble event. In peak flow is done with a feeling of ease. Everything seems to be easy. And if everyone on the production is coached or taught or introduced to this word, ease, and can learn and discover that it's 100% fakeable. This is the best part about it. You can be nervous, you can be scared, you can be in a rush. But if you move easily, quickly, move easily, efficiently, or move easily, slowly, deliberately, carefully, moving with ease. We'll introduce breathing, and it's a loss of breath on the set. And in the post-production and in the pre-production, when the locations disappear and when the volunteer background players have to leave right now and there's nothing you could do, when the second camera won't start, whatever it is that's going to happen, and it will happen, if everyone remembers ease, this word, instead of relax, chill, whatever, if everyone can remember this word ease, it becomes a cue for everyone to fall in alignment with it. Now, if we look at what causes a loss of ease, we can look at what we call form, the shape of things. So I'm going to go back to language for a minute. Does anybody know this word deadline? Anyone use that word? Does anyone know the origin of that word? If you do, speak up. If you don't, you want to take a shot at how did that word get started? What are the images associated with the word deadline?
Dropping dead right here at this moment.
Yeah.
Come to this line and rah!
Yeah. Donatel, do you have a thought?
I have, my microphone is off, right?
It's on. It's on.
Oh, okay, good. Well, there had to be some, I'm sure that there was some maybe medieval thing that was the line that you died on, evidently, but no, the origin, I don't.
Yeah. So supposedly it is from, prisoners, a line. And if you cross that line, you are dead. You get killed. And that coming from that, even if you don't know that, but just hearing the word deadline, if you can feel the energy in you, it is unlikely to be ease. If you really feel it. So what other words can we use besides deadline? How about due date, timeline, target?
Target. Yeah.
All right. Our target date, our out point.
Much better.
Okay. Really creates stress. And so time is a form, it's a shape. And if we have ease, our efficient use of time increases greatly. When we look at how people trying to meet a due date, an out point, a timeline, a goal, or a target, when they start fearing that they're going to miss the target, we're going to go into overtime, we're not going to make the we're not going to get the rushes in on time, or we're not going to get to the location on time, we're losing the light, we've got 2 days before we've got to do a costume parade, or whatever, the designs have to be in. Look, you've got to age them by 25 years, and you've got to do that in 3 minutes. Whatever these pressures are that these timelines and target points generate, the pressure itself tends to interrupt and slow down the progress. And again, this is where learning to operate with a feeling of ease becomes essential. And what is it you need to be at ease about or have a feeling of ease with is the form. The form. There are many actors who might have problems with their form. They don't like the costume. They don't feel at ease with their body. Maybe they're not aware of how the lighting is affecting them, or the DP doesn't like the form of the set. They're having a problem with the production designer. All these kinds of things are matters of form. Even the question of, did we cross the line? You know, are we on the wrong side of the line here? That is a question of form. And that is a situation where everybody's very uneasy about the form. So understanding and being really well prepared, for example, with your shot list, so that you're clear you're not going to cross the line. All of these kinds of strong, solid preparations are going to prevent the form from triggering chaos on the set. So form, that's a F for form. F, what is that? F. F, yes, okay. What is it? Yeah, there, F. So form, very, very important. There are forms inside of you, forms around you that make you uneasy. So when you become uneasy, you can ask yourself, is there a form that I'm uncomfortable with, inexperienced at, unable to achieve the right image that I want? Am I behind my time frame? And am I allowing myself to stress over the form of something? And the goal is to ask then, what is it about the form that you're seeing that is either ugly or incomplete? Okay, so these are what is the form that you think is ugly? What is ugly or undesirable about the form? Or what is unfinished, yet to be completed about the form? And what we want to look at is, how can we find the beauty? So we're looking for beauty. We're looking for, what can we appreciate about this form? So I've lost my location, but I've got another one. This is a big change in the form. It sets a whole chain of travel, timing. It changes the camera lighting. It changes your setups. It changes the orientation of the actors if they were expecting a different form. And if we see the beauty, and how many times does this happen where a location gets lost and we have to find a new location, and it turns out to be so perfect for it. But we went through an immeasurable amount of stress, anxiety, and confrontation, fights, arguments, loss of relationship over the fact that we got scared because we lost the first location. So when we understand that there's this concept that we can look for the beauty, and we can look immediately. When, I'm going to say, shit happens, whether it's in the makeup trailer, whether it's in pre-production, whether it's in post-production, when that shit goes down, and it will, and it does every day in every department, even for the writer, when those script pages get sent back, right? That there is something, if you look for it, there is a beautiful thing in there. It's going to force you into greater creativity if you're willing to breathe and open yourself up to your inspired states. And if you have a team that's going, okay, the shit just hit the fan, we lost that location, it means we're going to have to change the entire production schedule, we're going to have to shift to shooting other stuff now, and find a new location and shoot that at the end, or whatever it's going to be. If we all maintain our feeling of ease, because we're open to the possibility and looking and seeking to find the beauty of this new form, then a much greater sense of creativity, ensemble, hope, possibility immediately will flow into the production. So we have beauty, which helps us immediately be at ease. When we find the beauty of something, we are immediately at ease. What are we finding the beauty of? The form. Now, the other element that causes us to think something is ugly is entirety, the sense of wholeness. When things don't get finished, when they're not done. Have you ever, been on a set and you're acting and you're aiming towards this thing and somebody calls cut and the actor is like, or your continuity, and you realize you look at a playback or something and you realize that you did not catch something and you've got to go reshoot the whole thing because you've got a major mess in the continuity. Whatever it is, there's going to be things that don't get done, don't get finished, they're left incomplete. Maybe it's a costume that's being made and you've got to, tape it together and it comes untaped in the middle of the shot or something. These little incomplete moments are seen as ugly. We didn't get to do inserts or whatever it is. They're unfinished moments. We didn't get all our pages in today. The stress of not finishing can be so intense. Got to get this done before we lose the light, that you lose the light because you couldn't decide whether you wanted to do A first or B first. And if you'd have just done C first, you'd have gotten A and B anyway. If you'd all had the feeling of ease, appreciated what's happening in the loss of the light, and teamed up together to be proactive instead of living in the state of panic, anxiety, and stress. Entirety, the feeling of wholeness, is a perception. And it's amazing how creative people can be if they choose that positive aspect of appreciating this, fading sun, and decide to be co-creative about it instead of moving into panic. So you have now what we call four feelings that you can cultivate as an artist, as a collaborative artist, and then as an ensemble on the crew, the cast. If everybody learns this simple little set of things: beauty, ease, entirety, and form. These four: B, E, E, F. So when the shit hits the fan, all you need to ask is, where's the beef? Okay? And when you set up this communication among the whole cast and crew, look, we got this thing, it's called beef. I know, it's like an old Wendy's commercial, but really it is beauty, ease, entirety, and form. And when shit goes down, if somebody says, where's the beef? First thing that's going to happen is people are going to laugh. And the moment they laugh, you break the stress. You get everybody breathing again. And now you can step away and gain objectivity. Having a sense of humor is essential to safety on the set. It's essential in getting the script to the screen. And it is essential in the safety of self-care. The sense of humor can be brought out with this question, where's the beef? Beauty, ease, entirety, and form. What is beautiful? The form in its entirety, even if it's only half of what you meant to get. You can look at it from a perspective of wholeness, of entirety. And the ease is, as I said, fakeable. So with this idea of the beef, this just central idea. You as an individual film artist in any capacity, as a writer, as a hair designer, as a wardrobe person, as a technician, producer, director, actor, can develop these four skill sets anytime in your life. So trying to find an agent, make sure you're engaging the beef with it. Because if you live with this attitude, surrounding yourself with appreciation, right? Seeing the beauty in each person you meet and believing in the beauty of your own material and sharing it with ease, sharing your gifts and talents with ease, and being able to be and understand the of what people are looking for. You can offer and make these connections. People are going to want to work with you. They're going to want to tell your stories. They're going to want to have your hands on their face, your craft in designing their production, in your gifts, all your talents, your gifts as an actor, as a writer, producer, director, designer, and crew person. When your career is built on relationships. And this industry is notorious, just notorious for having a culture of pain. I faced so much misogyny, unbelievable misogyny in this industry, and so much cutthroatness from other women who were trying to get those few little opportunities. I mean, I had to fight for the right to stunt double women because the men were. Right? And then I doubled Grace Jones. Why? I should never have been allowed to double Grace Jones. We should have had a trained African-American stunt woman, but there was not anyone who could possibly fit her physical form there. Now, today, we have made progress, and I know those women are out there. So we have new things to fight for. They're positions that we need to fight for. But if we fight without the beef, the likelihood of us destroying relationships instead of strengthening relationships is bound to come back and kick us in the butt. It's going to kick us out of the it's going to kick us out of the room. It's going to kick us off the film. So we need to learn how to use the beauty, the ease, the entirety, and the form in all of our networking, because our networking is preparation, right? And preparation is part of the job. So there are many aspects of each individual artist who only wants to do the work itself, and they don't consider the process of getting the work to be an art. And the self-care that we need to give for our health is to apply artistic principles to the process of networking, artistic principles to the process of the post-production, artistic principles to our follow-up. Does that make sense for everybody? That you are 24/7 this film artist. You are never not that. And so everyone you meet and everywhere you go becomes the next link to your next opportunity. Alice was sharing with me a bit about her story. Now I know that. Now I'm going to check with somebody in LA and see if there's anything that can happen. Will that happen? I don't know. We don't know. But the fact that we and we went to the theater Friday night, and outside the theater we bumped into a group of 6 people who were walking very slowly, and we were kind of moving more quickly, so they stepped aside to let us come through. But I suspected we were all going to the same theater, and they made a comment about the artist who was performing. She's a 6'3" stunning Dr. Johanna Rogers from Syracuse, and a beautiful African-American woman. And I had postcards in my purse, and they were talking. They asked her to take a picture of them together. And I pulled the postcards out and I said, you want to be taking a picture with her, and you got to come and see her show. Do you know 3 of them showed up on Saturday or Sunday to the show? I mean, who knew, right? It's just because we were ready, we were having fun, we were helpful. Instead of being rude and impatient with the people who were slowing us down, we said, wow, this is beautiful. These are really neat people. And we had a great time both at the theater with this group on Thursday night, and then half of them showed up on Sunday. So relationships were formed because we were living the beef. And this is who you want to be. If you can all come together on a production and bring your unified vision and utilize the beef as a cue word. I was on a production, on several of these productions that I coached on, and every day somebody called beef. And when they did, everybody paused for 30 seconds and just breathed. And we had no crisis. We had shifts, changes on the spot. We lost locations, we lost an act, somebody got whatever. It all happened, but panic never happened. And we got all the shots, and we turned out to have a really fun film. So this is one of my offerings for you. And I'm gonna open it up for some questions and comments and feedback, if you guys will.
I mean, I'll start. Thank you so much, Lisa. I could listen to you all night long. We definitely probably want to do a podcast with you too, so we can have you all to ourselves, because Gail and I are about interviewing amazing women and we get to ask all the things. So I'm not going to take up too much time, but my main question to you, I identify with everything that you're saying. I love ADing sometimes because I like to be the person that can set the tone for the environment, or when I'm producing, or even, just being the president of Women in Film, like, want to make it an open space and use a lot of the tools that you're talking about. But maybe you could advise us a little more on, for example, I recently production designed a show where the producer was from LA and we're all from Dallas. And there's always that, you don't know Dallas, like we work differently. And so she wasn't dealing with the beef, or he or she, doesn't matter.
Mhm.
We were put in silos, like I would have a meeting with the director as the production designer, with an assistant and the producer, and never with just the director. So talk to us about how we can deal with the beef without having the support of people that are above us.
I love that, Tiffany. So I'll reiterate that because you are a 24/7 artist and these tools are perception based, right? They're about you choosing to perceive. It takes practice. So the more you practice in your everyday life, if you ask yourself, when am I uneasy in life? In traffic, in my own timelines management, when I look at my wallet or bank account, when I look at the list of undone things, I'm losing my beef, right? I'm thinking I'm falling behind, or I'm not self-disciplined enough to do. So we're in a self-criticism state, losing the beauty about our own timing and pacing, and or frustrated at the person who's taking forever in the grocery line in front of us. Every single little moment of your life where stress starts coming in is an opportunity for you to build your skill sets, your instinctive responses to staying in a field of ease, trying to find the beauty of exactly where that you are, always safe in time and space. And this is a really good little mantra. I am always safe in time and space. Where I am is safe. And what time it is right now is safe. We only have this moment. That's the truth. The now is really all we have. By definition, now. And so in this moment, can I be at ease? Can I see the beauty of this isolation I've been put into? What kind of creativity do I have being isolated? So Mr. Chekhov, Michael Chekhov would say, fall in love with the problem, make friends with the problem. This little make friends with is an incredible feeling of ease tool to make friends with the limited supplies, the limited budget, the limited time, the limited communication. To make friends with those and say, okay, I'm going to make friends with this isolation. I'm going to make friends with being micromanaged. I'm going to make friends with the fact that this producer does not want to communicate, but I'm not going to lose my feeling of ease. And by not losing your feeling of ease, what we create is together, we create what's known as atmosphere. Atmosphere is the vibration in the space. Now, in storytelling, it is so essential that our basic genres are based on it. We have horror, we have rom-com, we have sci-fi. They are atmospheres. As an individual human being, you live your life trying to be in certain vibrations and avoid others. You choose what you're going to wear, what restaurant you go to, who you hang out with, and how you decor your home, and maybe even what part of the world you live in. So you can be surrounded by the vibes you want to live in. In storytelling, the atmosphere is the overall, you could call it the very soul of the story. It's what impacts the audience first. It's in the marketing. It is in every aspect. The first thing a writer writes is a description of the atmosphere. It's interior or exterior. It's daytime, it's nighttime. It's a location, a description, and some kind of emotional charge in the description to help us tell or understand what the vibe is. An atmosphere is the result of the energies bouncing off, the molecules bouncing off the place itself and the event, what's happening there. On a film set or in the pre-production office, there is an atmosphere of we generally call it the culture, right? But there is a vibe for an actor walking into an audition space where they just really unhappy feeling in that production office when you're walking into audition, and you got to make friends with that, and you got to come in and solve their problem for them, right? You got to shift it. So everywhere you go, you carry your own personal bubble, just like Linus in the Peanuts cartoon strip, or Pigpen. I mean, Pigpen's got this little cloud of dirt, and no matter what mood he's in, he carries this cloud of dirt with him, carries this ongoing vibe. Lucy has her officiousness or condescension or whatever, and people have these vibes about them, an air about them. What you want to have is an air constantly of professionalism, availability. You want to have an air of beef around you, that people feel comfortable with you. And when you carry that into a room that's filled with tension and you hold that, our mirror neurons will reflect that, meaning everyone around you will be impacted. So either you're going to impact them and you're going to calm their nerves down just by holding the beef, or you're going to lose your shit and pick up their vibration of fear and anxiety. Does that make sense? So what you need to do is you need to be well practiced, well prepared to navigate this industry with the beef so that you can spread that. You can permeate your radiance, your centeredness, your calmness. You're pretending to be at ease, even though inwardly you're like, oh, what about all of that? Even though that's there, you can put on this air of ease and comfort, a sense of authority in your subject. And if you don't cower in your energy, but speak on par, and this is part of that self-help part, right? That on the culture of the set, so many of us, especially women, make themselves smaller. They're worried about pleasing. And what we need to do is have that sense of authority and be able to easily communicate our own sense of authority and be receptive to easily hear. So many times, I mean, from an acting point of view, only 30% of actors take direction well. And so as a crew person, you got to ask yourself, are you like the actors? Do you have so much noise, noise going on in you can't you? Or do you, that's enough. Actors don't take direction well. They judge the direction. And the other is they take the direction a little bit, but not strongly. And so if you can understand the context, the director says, I want you to be a little more angry here. And they thought they were on a scale of 0 to 10. They thought they were at an 8, so they go to a 9. But what the director saw was a 5. So when the actor goes to what they think is a 9, the director sees a 5.5. And they think you don't take direction well. So you got to take the direction strongly. If the director tells you something about the makeup and you really disagree with it, you think it's a bad choice, you're not seeing the beauty and you're uneasy about the form the director is asking for. And so you don't entirely commit to it. So you underdo it because you can always add more. Now in makeup, that's probably a good idea. In sewing, the director wants it shorter. It's not a good idea to cut it off. It's a really good idea to hem it more, And I got shredded from here to here because I didn't want to make the costumer wrong, but I see it to be. And she said, no, they're elbow length. And I said, I need to wear elbow pads. And when my elbow pads are on, they're going to come to here. I told her that. I'm a seamstress. I know what I'm talking about. She made the sleeves to here, and there was no extra fabric to make them any longer. And because of that, I could not wear elbow pads. And because of that, when I dove into the pile of glass, I got shredded from here to here. Now, I could have said, I will not wear this and fix it. But because I'm a costumer and a seamstress, they're like my favorite people. And I didn't want to hurt her feelings, and I didn't want to make her wrong to the director and blah, 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 right? And so I got shredded, so we got to learn to stand up for ourselves and speak what we know and find a balance there. I hope that helped, Tiffany. It was a long answer, but
No. I mean, it was very helpful, and I appreciate that. And I did try to enjoy the beauty with her, or this person. And I mean, there was no issue really. It wasn't a problem. It was just a different way of me having to work within the way that this person that was much younger than me and from a different part of, different location. And it was just different. And so, and even in pre-production, I made it very clear how I work. It was very open with this person. It seemed like this really symbiotic relationship. And then once production started, I realized that I don't think it was me. I think it was just this person's personality and how they deal with things. I think she was a vegetarian where she needed to have some beef. That's all I have to say.
That's it. And if what we hope is that you build some skill sets, right? That you build some skill sets that she push you to work a little bit out of your box. And we hope that she grows and learns by your example. And we don't always get to see the benefits of the examples that we put out into the world there. And every time we as an artist can try to elevate the quality of the work with this centeredness, with this sense of ease, we will be gradually changing this culture. We can do it.
You
Thank
know,
you so much. That was great advice.
Lisa, there's an interesting thing that happens, I think, on sets where, especially for actors, when we come in for a very short period of time. We come in for a day, we come in for a week. The vibe, the atmosphere, the culture of the set is already established. And we feel like, excuse me, can I come in and play in your playground? And the people who have been there, like the stars or the regulars, you watch them and the way they come into the makeup trailer and the way they move around the set. I mean, there is a sense of ease and entitlement and familiarity that exists with them. And I know that for me, there's often the case of, okay, I'm just here to do my 1 or 2 days and I don't want to bother anybody. But I love what you're saying as a way of not shrinking, of expanding and being your full self, not arrogant, but easy and giving value to who you are and what you bring to the process. And unfortunately, you know, it might be the second AD, it might be somebody in hair and makeup, it might be somebody in wardrobe who is so busy dealing with the people who are the money that we feel not as important, not as
Or not the money, but feel that they are the money.
Yeah.
Anyway.
well, that can be a whole other thing. So I find this really interesting because you're really talking about self-defense tools, self-growth, self-management. Defense always is like, meh, but self-management that it's so easy to lose sight of. I think, I mean, it's so basic.
Yeah.
But in a business that is constantly tearing you down or challenging you or not accepting you, oh, come and be in our project. You know, we have to really work. I feel we have to really work at that.
I really wish that there were more people that would get this consultation, you know. I wish that that was a real, not even a, I mean, it would be great if that was a real job.
Yeah, the prevention approach.
It really should be. Number one, it should be a real job. And number two, it should be a woman-dominated job so that we can have more cookies off the plate of work that is out there for us. But
Yeah.
Lisa, can you talk a little bit about how you came to be brought in as a production coach and what resistance you might have met? And if you have seen this grow and develop in other productions?
So let me just tag back to what you were just saying, Gail, about coming in on the what you're talking about is in the field of the 4 beauty, ease, entirety, and form. You're talking about the feeling of entirety. That you're talking about the bit,
Right.
and not feeling part of the whole.
Right.
And this can happen for any crew member also who comes in for a special moment, like they're just here to do this special makeup, or they're here to bring this effect in, or whatever. They're not part of the crew. So these are all questions of entirety and being at ease with that. And one of the things I want to say about entirety, of course, remember we started with strong preparation. Makes the action effortless. Getting to the appointment early cannot be underestimated. If you're meeting with anybody, if it's an actual call, whatever it is, you should be 15 minutes early, meaning you should be ready out of the car or ready to step out of the car, not leaving your house so that you get there 15 minutes early, but arriving 15 minutes early, meaning you need to leave maybe an extra 20 minutes, because the average human being is not late by more than 20 minutes, except in extreme circumstances, like an 18-wheeler shuts down the whole freeway and you're stuck there. Right? So the average person who's late is behind the 8 ball. They're scared, they're nervous, they're unprepared. They did not prepare for possible delays. An actor who wanted to get to an audition at Fox Studios on time, who got there 15 minutes early, was 20 minutes late because they had to park a 20-minute walk away. And by the time they got to their audition, they were a mess, right? So being late is going to throw you off. It does not allow you to be prepared. If an actor is coming to a brand new set and can definitely be there 15 minutes before their call time, they can scout out the set and use the technique called making friends with, to make friends with the set, to instantaneously say, hello trailer, hello camera, hello, inside, acknowledging and making friends and anchoring them. And then every person can be your ally or your enemy. And so how you relate to them, make every person your ally by being an ally to them. Be early, be polite, be present, listen to what they have to say and ask questions. If you're managing a set, make sure that your courtesy protocols go all the way down the line for anyone, for your first AD, second AD, third AD, all the way down the line, your PAs. Everybody understands the Gail, ask me your question again. What you were, the second, because I wanted to address that first thing.
Well, I was just wondering about whether you had seen.
I got it. I remember. So the evolution, how I got into those positions. I worked as an actor in some films, and then I was asked, they came to know that I was a coach and stuff like that. And so when they started new projects, they asked me questions. In one case, it was the director writer was bringing on this whole new this group of actual psychics and tarot readers and dancers and this mob of artistic people who had never acted before. And so they wanted me to come in and coach the cast to prepare them. And so it started by coaching people, but I coached Diana Liano Santo who's Bruce Lee's goddaughter, on The Sensei. And so she was a private student of mine. She wrote the script, she directed it, she starred in it. So I coached her on, I taught her the beef and all that stuff. And we looked at how to use it for the script itself, the principles for the script. And then for her being able to switch from producer to director to actor and writer, to be able to instantly make those switches with ease. And they went through all kinds of things. They had funding pulled, and they got location switched, and it got too hot and all the extras left, and how she maintained the beef on the set, and how creative they got with this production was astonishing. And she went on to, it went all over the world. You could see it, The Sensei. And so sort of reputation, one thing led to another with it. And in most cases, I just donated my time and I got little bit parts. I got cast, I got my SAG contracts on little bit parts.
I'd like to ask if anybody else has a question. It's already 8:20. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to ask of Lisa? No hands going up. Lisa, do you have any last things you'd like to say to us? And then we can wrap up for today. It was so wonderful to have you here. And this has been great preparation for our symposium that we're having this Saturday. And I hope that most of you, all of you will join us. The information is on our website. Anything else, Lisa?
Well, I will just say a little bit about physical safety. And that is, it's to not underestimate the mundane. The mundane things, the wires, the cables, the food on the set, the last thing you need is a massive food poisoning, things like that. But especially when anything really is dangerous, if you're involved in it, check it 5 times. Check it. That's strong preparation. Check it 5 times. There's always an uncontrollable element. And if you have the beef and your strong preparation, you'll be able to handle the dangerous moments, the crises, with fluidity and ease. If you get stressed before the crisis, in anticipation of the crisis, you deplete your energy and you can't handle and respond. So when the shit happens, here's the beef.
Can I just say a comment real quick? So I'm a video producer in the corporate environment, and this is my first event. And I was so excited because I didn't know what to expect. And I've learned so much about this presentation because the company work culture has this thing that they always say, my safety commitment is in all the departments. They're all about quality. I work for Toyota, so everything is automation, safety, big manufacturers. So can I say from now on that my safety commitment is I'll make sure I have the beef? I will give you total credit for it. But
I love that.
never had a safety commitment. But
That's amazing.
I'm always a girl doing like, when I'm the director, we not only bring team members that are freelancers, so they know how to work in a set. But when I have executives, and it's probably just a 1 camera video shoot, but still, I don't want my executive to trip. So I was making sure that my safety commitment is cables stayed down, clear walking areas, security if we're doing something with the cars, always showing the seatbelt. But now I understand that it's beyond the physical aspect and areas around me.
You get to create the culture.
I am seeing it in so many levels now, not just for creating an environment that is conducive to collaboration and sharing, making sure that, like you're saying, I think someone comment here that sometimes we are seen as smaller, and I'm the youngest, only female in a group of just males. So we just have to say it as the way it is. But I'm gonna own the beef from now on. I love it.
That's
the beef.
great. I want to share one little story. There is an actress, Lois Kibbe, who was, and some of the older people may remember, there was a soap opera named Edge of Night, called The Edge of Night. It was on for 50 years. And Lois became a grande dame on it. And that was my first professional work. And I came on as an under 5, and as soon as I got on the set, Lois Kibbe, who was a big star of it, walked over to each one of us, the under 5s and the extras, and she shook each person's hand and she said, "Welcome to the set. We really need you here today with us." That set my career on a wonderful path. And I think of that, I think of the incredible opportunities, the warmth of somebody like Meryl Streep or Cher, who were so warm and welcoming and treating me like a peer, Robert Redford, all these people just absolutely treating me like a peer. And I was often shaking and nervous, like, oh my God, I'm sitting in a makeup chair next to Meryl Streep. Oh my God, is what's going on inside. But outside, I'm like, yeah, we're girl talking. And so just remembering what Lois Kibbe did, she created beef for me by welcoming me into the space and telling me I was significant and important. And so I think every person who comes into your field, you have the ability to turn to them and allow them to feel welcome them into your world and into your space.
Well, I just want
Thank
to say thank you so much, Lisa Dalton, for teaching us about the beef, really. And really just talking about our space and our environment, how important it is for us to be able to breathe through. And I think people get mistaken adrenaline for stress and anxiety. And I think it's really important that we clarify the difference between those two. Yeah, yes, we're still releasing, chemicals into our brain based off both of those emotions. However, are you still with me? Yeah. However, it's very important to know that ease thing, and I think we've learned from the video this evening that if we're too at ease, then you don't show up as well for us. We have to keep moving. So thank you so much for your expert. There were so many light bulbs that went off for me tonight, and not that I don't think that any of us didn't learn anything brand spanking new, although many people may have. But reminders of things that we've always been telling ourselves, but that you just validated for us. Because at this point in your career, what I appreciate is that you are an expert. And you can see the things that are happening, and I have so much more to talk to you about. However, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. And if we have any last minute questions, it's about 8:27. So Gail, if you have anything for her or want to open the floor, if anybody has anything they would like to chat about, we are not on a time limit. If we're in a heated discussion and we want to go forward, then we really can do that. But I'm just really inspired right now. So thank you very much for being here.
Well, it's my honor and pleasure.
Tiffany, do you want to say something about the tickets?
Yes. All right. So the IMAX tickets, IMAX has gifted WIFD 10 complimentary tickets to the special event, Ray Fleming's Sights That Sing Paris. There will be a special showing on September 18th, the day after the symposium, at 2 p.m. at AMC North Park. And pretty much if you're here and you want them, I got you. I'm going to give you some tickets. We've got 10 tickets to give away. You have a guest. If you are interested, please leave your name in the post and available. Also, we want to make sure that if we have extra tickets, might give them to somebody that really wanted to be here that couldn't be here. And Lisa Dalton, if you are interested, of course, we would like to offer you the tickets as well. So if you are available and interested at seeing the film on September 18th at 2 p.m. at 8MC North Park 15, we'll put your name on the VIP list. And Renee and Kelsey will be joining us from New York at AMC Lincoln Square IMAX Theater.
That's Kelsey Grammer, by the way. That's Kelsey Grammer.
What did I say?
No, you didn't say his last name. So it's just, yeah.
Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
He's a big deal.
Yeah, right, he is.
So Renee and Kelsey Grammer from New York's AMC Square IMAX Theater, they're going, so you'll be able to be a part of that conversation. So yeah, those of you, there's only 9 of us here. So those of you that want to go, I'm going to put you on the list right now. And Lisa, that includes you as well. So
I'll be in DC. So
Oh, that's right. She's not going to be
Yeah.
at our symposium because she's going to be somewhere else. Well, Lisa, I think I can speak for me and Gail that we really want to interview you on our podcast.
that'd be great.
So when you get back in town, we'd really love to have that conversation, another one with you, and just kind of celebrate you and thank you for being here for our members and for everyone.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Gail, for inviting me. Yay.
All right, everyone, please. Erin Parisi, our secretary, is like, yes, please have Lisa on the podcast. So we'll work that out and we'll have you on soon enough. So, all right, ladies, thank you. I'm going to stop the recording now, or Gail, you can do that. And anyone on the chat that would like